Hey everybody, this is Ryan with South Jersey Yak Fishing. Thanks once again for tuning in. In today's trip, we're going to have a little bit of fun. We are going to be tossing baits at the jetty rocks to see what types of fish we can catch, as well as I'm going to be sharing some of the strategies I use when I'm fishing the jetty, and we're going to be doing something else that I'm going to tell you about in my on-the-water intro. So, without further ado, here is me. Oh, and by the way, Mr. Squinty Eyes probably should have been wearing his Oakley sunglasses during this intro. I'm just saying. What's going on, YouTube? This is Ryan with South Jersey Yak Fishing. I'm kind of excited. This is the first of my jetty series. Hitting the jetties a little early this year. The waters have been really warm, so I fear that a lot of these species will be exiting a little early because of the warm water. I mean, I don't know. But I've been excited about doing a jetty trip for a while. I got 4 different baits with me, and we're going to try them all out here and see what one's working the best. Stay tuned. Okay, so there you have it. The 4 baits we will be testing today will be fiddler crabs, Asian crabs, green crabs, and sand fleas. All of these baits I caught myself earlier in the week. I had to spend a couple of hours gathering it all together on different days, and yeah, it was a lot of work, but we were well prepared to catch a lot of fish. But first we got to find them, which did take a little while, so of course when I hooked my first fish, I did not have the camera rolling. Alright, so of course right after I took the head cam off because I wasn't getting any bites, I hooked my first fish. It was a 14-inch tog. I had a lot of trouble finding a place where I could drop a jig where I wasn't getting swept away by the current. I mean, the current's going to start to calm down a little bit, but for right now I gotta watch where I go so I can hold bottom. Why is it not coming out? Okay, so I am using a cheaper jig so that I can scout these jetty rocks without fear of losing an expensive one. And once I find my spot, I will switch out for a better one, but these cheaper jigs have a really pronounced barb, and it's making it hard to get the fish off the hook, so I will be crushing those barbs down quite a bit with my pliers, as I feel I can keep enough pressure on the fish to keep them from coming off the hook during the fight. Green crab got hit right away. I didn't even hit bottom or something. Okay, I'm sure it's a tog. It is. Man, the green crab tears it up, dude. I mean, I can't even hit bottom with the green crab. It's pretty typical though with the jetty, man. I'm not surprised with that. This is another one of those cookie cutter 14s. 13 even. Alright, these barbs suck. They're too pronounced. Yeah, I gotta crush that down. Alright, so those other jigs that I was using, cheap ones, I don't know, man. I'm questioning whether or not they're really announced. This one went down and held just fine. I don't think they're an ounce. He's like a 12-incher. Bye-bye. That was on an Asian. Alright, we're going back to half a sand flea. I cut them in half, and Asian crab seems to be working well. Green crab's getting annihilated. I haven't really tried a fiddler yet, but I'm saving some of those for the bridge, but I will try those eventually. Every time when I turn off the camera. Alright, so the key to catching fish, guys, is to turn the camera off, because every time I do it, I get hit. It's like literally right after I told the camera to shut off, I got a fish on the line. This is the way this is going to go today, huh? Tog, of course, is out of season, so can't keep any of them. cycling through this bait pretty quick, man. Oh, we're gonna go with try some green crab again. Okay, so normally when I'm fishing with green crab, you'll see me put a half a crab on there, but that's usually in the fall and the spring when I'm fishing for larger tog. In this case, all the tog are smaller, and there's other species out there, and all the other baits are a smaller bait profile. So I'm cutting this into quarters now to keep the bait profiles about the same. This is helpful for me when I'm lifting that jig up off the bottom to tell whether or not the bait's been taken off the hook. The other thing is there's multiple species out here, and green crab is one of the best baits for multiple species. But some of these fish have small mouths, like triggerfish. So the bait profile I want to be smaller to also accommodate that situation. All right, so we're going back to the green crab, see what happens with this. Everything seems to be working now that I found the fish. And there is a very specific crevice here at this jetty that they're sitting in. And go up and over this rock and then drop down behind it. And it should drop down kind of significantly somewhere. Something had it for a second, but they let it go. I think they just got it off my hook. There we go. Wow, that is so weird. They're picking it up and dropping it and then picking it back up again. There's probably a whole ton of them down there. Can't really see on the fish finder, but yeah, they're all about the same size, man. I mean, it's fun catching, but they are not big fish. All right, it's probably about 12 inches. Bye-bye. All right, so I've got the dock rod. I have this tiny, tiny little jig on here and a little bit of bait. I'm just gonna toss it towards the jetty and then try and walk it down. Actually, that wasn't a very good cast. I wanted to get it out further than that. That's a little better. I don't know what this is, man. That worked out pretty good. It's another tog. Oh yeah. Oh, it's a nice size tog. That's the biggest one yet on the dock rod. I love that. That's awesome. I mean, he's almost a legal size tog, but he's not. He's shy by about a 1/4 inch. All right, short tog, going back, bye-bye. All right, so we're gonna do that again. And toss this guy right up there. And we're gonna let her land on the bottom. There's always a chance it could get snagged. And we're just gonna kind of walk it down. And once it hits bottom, I'm gonna let that line go slack there, and I'm just looking for twitching the line there. Fish picks it up, I'm gonna see that line move. There we go. Oh, missed him. All right, another small tog. They like that green crab, man. Let's switch it up. Now that fell off. Let's try a tiny little sand flea here. See if they hit that just the same. Okay, so in this next clip, I'm actually going to catch a fish on an Asian crab, and even though you saw me putting a sand flea on in the last clip, the flea did not get a hit. And that's the thing I think I'm finding, is that although sand fleas can be a good bait, there are times when fish will turn their nose up at it for whatever reason. And I believe that I'm not the only local YouTuber that has come to this conclusion this season. However, with all of that being said, in a couple of clips, even though the sand flea has been inconsistent, it will somehow be responsible for catching the best fish of the video, which I found to be very interesting. All right, so this one's on an Asian crab. Still too short. They're all short fish. Not that I'm keeping any, because you can't, but... Okay, so in this next clip, I have actually moved locations, and that's the thing I like about the Jetty, is that if you don't like what you're getting where you're at, well, you can just move down a ways a little bit in search of a better spot holding better fish. It's all structure. But I was only catching small tog in the other spots, so even though I was still getting bites, I left biting fish in search of better fish, and hopefully a few different species. Wow. So fiddler crab on the jig, tossed out, caught in the middle of the water column, got a bigger tog. I have been saving these fiddler crabs for the bridge. And but the very second I put one on, I get a bigger tog. It's the second time in a row this has happened. Well, not in a row, but second fiddler crab that I've used. He might even be like close to keeper size. Let's just sit for fun. All right, stop, man. It's almost like he knows how to direct his spines towards my hand. Oh yeah, he's 15 and a half. All right. Nice tog, man. Going home. Bye-bye. Nice thing about tog, man, they release easily. They're always lively. Even in the wintertime, you don't have to like wait long for them to take off. They just go. All right, so I'm running out of Asian crabs. I've got sand fleas. They're all dead now at this point. I'm gonna toss that right where I tossed the other one. See what happens. Oh, I got hit already. I already lost my bait. I wasn't even set. That sucks, man. These next few fish are all going to be caught on sand fleas, and there's going to be a few better fish mixed in there, as well as I'm going to explain a strategy sometimes I like to use at the Jetty. All tog. Woo. He's a decent sized tog. Pretty dark. $14.25. Nothing special. Bye-bye. At least you got a meal out of it, right? Oh, that is a big oyster cracker. Oh, ugly guy. Well, I wanted a mixed bag trip, man. I hadn't seen one of these guys in a while. Oh, man. Take a look at him. Hey, is it just me or these guys always look like they're happy? He's got a big grin on his face. Almost like a Joker's grin. Do you see that? All right. Stop. These things are just so ugly. Bye-bye. Stay off my line. Alright, they are hitting these sand fleas pretty liberally now, whereas before I couldn't get them to hit them. So it's just a matter of that tide turning and the bite turning on. But the interesting thing is that during slack tide and before the tide turned, they wouldn't touch the sand fleas, but they were hitting the green crab and the fiddlers and the Asians. So I guess sand fleas aren't an all the time bait. Alright, let's talk a little strategy now, shall we? Alright, so I found this spot where the structure comes up really high and then there's a drop off behind it. And if I just cast up into the shallow area and then walk my bait down the embankment, right after I get past this one ledge, I seem to get hit every time. So they must be hanging right behind that little ledge there in the slack, waiting for food to come to them. So we're just going to keep giving them food off the ledge. So although this is a little different, the concept is really similar to what I do with the bridge pilings and almost exactly the same as how you would fish an eroding side bank for fish. But we are dropping baits down in slack water where we know fish are hanging out. The only difference is that slack water is created by a depth change as opposed to a freestanding bridge piling. But small pockets of slack water and rushing current will almost always hold fish. There's the ledge. There's the drop. Oh, see? You hit every time right there. That's not a small fish right there. Foul hooked. No, not foul hooked. He's not as big as he thought at first. These guys are slick, man. This next fish is going to be kind of interesting as he has this I just got caught with my lips in the cookie jar look to him. But yeah, you're going to see what I'm talking about. Look at that. He's got his he's got his lips right inside that shell. You ever seen those shells cleaned out, man? Look at what they do. They get right up in there. Chew that meat right out of there. Leave you just enough evidence to let you know that it was there. Alright. Another like 13-inch tog maybe. Slippery guy. Bye-bye. Okay, so earlier I had mentioned that the sand fleas can be a good bait. However, today and the past couple of trips, I have noticed that it can be somewhat inconsistent during certain times of the tide. I also mentioned that the sand flea would somehow be responsible for catching the best fish. Well, here it is.
Wow. He had it before I even flipped the bail. I didn't even know it.
Yeah, this is a big fish. Not a sheep. I don't know what it is. Oh, it is a sheep. Look at that. I have my drag set too tight. Right, first sheep of the day. I was hoping I'd find one of these guys at the jetty today. He's got a wound. I think he swam into the structure when I was fighting him. That might be fresh. Sorry about that, bud. He's big. Nice size. See if I can avoid getting myself spiked by these spines here. Being I don't have any shoes on. Yeah, he's 21. 21-inch sheep, man. Not bad. Man, this kayak deck is a mess. All right, man. Nice size sheepshead, dude. I can't. Woo! Man, he took off right away. I thought I was gonna have to revive him. So, all in all, it turned out to be a pretty good day. As the current began to pick up, I did head back to the bridge for some open bail style fishing at the bridge pilings. I managed to get into a small mid-column tog bite until my battery died, and then the trip abruptly ended. But yeah, it was a really good day. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, smash that notification bell, and please consider supporting me by subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Catch you next time, guys. Peace.